Hey y'all, hey, so I'm back with another video. So today I am reviewing WWE Unreal Season 2. I'm gonna try to see if I can do this season all in one video. If not, it's cool, I'll just kind of break it up. Last year I did episode 1 and I was gonna continue, but to be quite honest, I just didn't really feel like reviewing it. But I said I'm gonna just do it all together here. So if you are new to my channel, I, obviously grew up watching wrestling. But I stopped watching probably maybe like around middle school, which for me would have been, I don't know, oh 08, somewhere around that time. But I did come back after WrestleMania 40. Now, this is before it was on Netflix. The year before it was on Netflix. And it was kind of hard to keep up, so I wasn't that into it, but I was trying. I was like getting my feet wet. And then when the Netflix era started, I was like more, all right, we full in, we deep in. I would consider myself, like I tell people, a little bit more than a casual, because at least for the last solid year, I have watched, I think, almost every episode of Raw. Now, I do not watch SmackDown. I do not watch NXT. I watch the highlights on YouTube, but that's kind of it. So I would say I'm kind of like in the middle, and I kind of keep up. I don't keep up with what goes on in the IWC and behind the scenes. I just more so like watch people on YouTube that talk about wrestling, and they kind of keep me in the know. So just letting y'all know that's kind of where I'm starting from. So I felt like, let me just talk about the overall season, right? I feel like season 2 for me, as a little bit more of a casual watcher, was better than season 1, because it felt to me like season 2 was way less like overly produced. It felt like season 1 was like, okay, we really need to make sure it goes ba 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 ba. It felt overly produced season 1, way too scripted for me, for something that's supposed to be unscripted but a little bit scripted at the same time. I felt like season 2 did a better job of, to me, it coming off more like, okay, this is a little bit more of like real life, of like how they kind of do things. I feel like maybe that's just because, like I said, season 1 they were doing so much probably to prep for it, that going into season 2 and going into season 3, you don't really have the time probably to like produce heavily like you did for season 1, because you're busy as shit. But anyway, so that's that. So we're gonna go. There was 5 episodes. Again, I really like this season. I prefer this season over last season personally. So episode 1, which is called No Days Off. This episode is really focused on Seth and Becky, Lyra, Valkyria, and then Pat McAfee. So we start off, like I said, with Seth. I want y'all to know, I want to be very clear, right? Seth Rollins is indeed me personally, my favorite wrestler. I love everything about Seth Rollins. I love his entrance. I know y'all hate it. I don't care. I love his fashionista choices. I don't care that y'all don't like it. He dresses in at least attempts compared to any other freaking wrestler around there. And he's good on a mic. To me, he's a good wrestler. Like, he is. I love him all together. I love Seth. Seth is my number 1. Then, I need to be careful. Okay, so the people that I like is Seth Rollins, LA Knight, because we'll get there. Funny enough, Sheamus. I'm gonna tell you, I love Sheamus because I feel like he really just comes, he does his job, he works hard, and he goes the fuck home. I love a white man that's just gonna come, do his big one, and go home. Love that. I love Sheamus. And I love Penta too, as we'll talk about later. That's with the guys. With the girls, obviously Naomi is my favorite, clearly. But I love Naomi. Liv Morgan, that's my bitch. You can't tell me nothing about Liv. That's my bitch. And I was so sad that she was gone for a long time. But just to give y'all a good idea of like who I like and who I don't. But anyway, we go off with Seth and Becky. Like I said, start off with them. Seth makes it very clear that he don't like this shit. Neither does Paul Heyman. Neither does John Cena. A lot of these people, they're not really for this show because it breaks, pretty much like the fourth wall. And you're giving people a peek behind the scenes. And part of wrestling is kind of like a secrecy, a little bit about it. So they don't really necessarily like the way, like this show. But here we are. TKO is paying them. Let's get to it. So again, because I'm new to this, until maybe like a few months ago, I didn't realize that Seth and Becky were actually married. So we see their wedding. It was so small. It was in 2021. I'm like, oh, y'all just got married. Y'all so cute together. When Seth said Becky is one of zero, I low-key almost cried because that is so fucking beautiful. She's one of zero. What am I supposed to say? Love it, love it, love it, love it. I love how they talk about, being on the road together and how great that is. We also talk about the fact that they had a child and how that has affected, Becky. I like this whole little storyline of the women wrestlers and them, because Chelsea Green talked about this also later, and they didn't hit on this with Naomi. I'm gonna assume they will in season 3. But as a woman wrestler, not just woman wrestler, sorry, as a woman period within the working world, you do have to kind of weigh whether or not you should be pregnant or not. It's not the same for men because men, they don't actually have to carry a baby, so it's not as big of a deal as it is for them as it is for us. So I love that Becky went into pretty much how hard it is trying to wrestle and be a mom, how she took time off because she felt so guilty about leaving her kid. And I almost cried for real when she did come back and she was about to go on stage, and then she was hugging her daughter was crying because she was leaving, and Becky almost cried. I was like, the mom guilt as a mom of a 2-year-old. The mom guilt that's some real ass shit. I work from home 3 days out of the week. There's 5 days and I work 3 days from home. And guess what? Those 2 days that I go in the office, I feel like a piece of shit. I really do. I feel like a piece of shit. So I appreciated that. Then we get into the whole Becky and Lyra situation. Now, I did not know that Lyra was a huge fan of Becky. She looked up to her. They showed, when the first time that they actually met at a training camp, that was, I believe, somewhere in Ireland. And just how, Lyra really likes Becky. Now, I want to say this about Lyra. Lyra, for me, in this show, came off great. Great. Loved it. She was so adorable, so cute, so thankful, so humble. She was just super grateful for the opportunity. I personally feel as if the person and the character that I saw on this show, it's not translating on your episodic week-to-week show. I'm sorry, it's just not. People do the Lyra, she go, woo, woo, they do all of that, but to me, I don't think the WWE has done a great job of really showing Lyra's personality. Now, she's on the mic a little bit, but I feel like whatever they need to do, the person that we saw on this show, we need to take that character or her personality and translate it onto TV, because to be quite honest, Lyra, for the most part, she kind of comes off a little uninteresting, a little boring. I was more heavily invested in the storyline as they rolled it out in Unreal versus on the actual show, and I think that's a problem. Yeah, that's an issue. And we're gonna get into the whole thing about the women's division because I have a long rant about that as well. But so that's kind of setting the stage. So we talk about Becky and Lyra and then meeting each other. Cool. Then we move over to Pat McAfee. Now, one thing Triple H did throughout this whole WWE Unreal Season 2 is lie. That man lied. One of the very first lies he told was, Pat McAfee, and I wrote it down, he said, he's the face of the WWE. No, the fuck he's not. Let me be clear. Before I even started watching wrestling again, I had no idea that Pat McAfee was even into wrestling. I didn't know until I clicked on an episode, and I'm like, why the fuck is Pat McAfee sitting here with my big dog, Michael Cole? But I will say, I feel better because I didn't know that Michael Cole was actually the one who brought him in, so that makes me feel better about it. And so they're talking about how they pretty much want to use Pat, right, for I forgot, is it Saturday main night event, either that or one of them damn PLEs, whatever the fuck they got, Backlash, some shit like that. And so, they're talking about, how they want to do this storyline, with Pat standing up for Michael Cole, and, we're going to turn that into a big thing. So, one of the other things I really liked about this season, and I don't know, maybe they could have, been reenacting some of this. Some of this did feel, I'll say this, the writing room scenes felt way more realer this time around than it did last season. Last season, it felt like they were specifically coming together to film, to act like they were talking about stuff, versus this season, it felt like, no, they really were like discussing stuff and the cameras just so happened to be there. But I had to write this man's name down because I needed to give him his tens. During the creative writing meeting about Pat McAfee versus Gunther, what's his name? Jonathan, and I'm going to spell his last name. I think it's Backstrom. Backstron. Shout out to you, big dog, because in that meeting, he is the VP of creative writing. They were saying, Triple H was like, I think, we might as well we could just give Pat the win. You know what I mean? Like, he could just take it. It's fine. And Mr. Jonathan, with his smart ass, came through and said, he said, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. Because to me, it makes no sense for Pat McAfee to beat Gunther. That literally makes no sense. I said, thank you, sir. Thank you. At least we got a little bit of common sense in the writing room, because y'all wanted to give him, I think, what did he say? He was like, with James Bond's movies, right? James Bond is always going to be the winner because that's what you're coming for. That's what you're paying for. You're paying to see James Bond win. Like, that's not what this is. And then he also made a great point where he was like, I just don't know how much it makes sense for him to win. And then when Gunther comes out, whatever the next show is, Pat McAfee is sitting like 10 feet away from him. And Pat could be like, oh, well, yeah, you beat my ass, but I beat you. And it's like, thank you. Where was this thinking when y'all let Gunther tap out to Jey Uso? Where was the long-term storytelling then? Because now that has come back to bite y'all in y'all ass. Because every time he comes out, you tapped out, you tapped out, you tapped out. And him doing the old John Cena tapped out like a little bitch is not changing the narrative. But I was like, thank you. Thank you. It makes no sense in a grand scheme of things for Pat McAfee to be Gunther. It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. Just like, shout out to Jelly Roll, he said later, like, he was like, at the end of the day, the story is that somebody who's not really supposed to be here is here. There's no reason that I should win. Like, shout out to you for clocking that tea, okay? I also so last season, they made it seem like, just from the outside looking in, they made it seem like they pretty much give them every step by step situation in the wrestling ring. And that kind of threw me off a little bit as somebody, again, that doesn't know much about behind the scenes. I always assumed, that there's people, that talk about what y'all do in the match. But it made it seem like every single step by step thing was something laid out by somebody versus the wrestlers kind of making their own decisions. But this season, I felt like, I don't know if they was trying to overcorrect or if it was just the way that it was cut last year or cut last season. But this season, it felt more like what I thought it is in ring. So for example, when it was time for Gunther to go against Pat McAfee, and he was like back in Gorilla talking to Triple H was like, okay, so how you gonna do it? He was like, I don't really know yet, but I'm gonna figure something out. And a lot of people said that throughout the show when it was coming to match. I'm like, oh, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out when I get in there. And I'm like, yes, that's what I always thought wrestling was. I thought wrestling was, I'm gonna figure it out when I get the fuck in there. This is the general layout of the match. This is who is supposed to win. But for the most part, it's gonna be me and the person, the other wrestler, figuring out the moves and the spots in the ring. So I felt like season 2 did a better job of being like, that's kind of sort of how it is a little bit. So I appreciated that. So yeah, Pat McAfee and Gunther, they do their match. I remember that match. It was okay. I mean, I felt like I like the idea sometimes of getting like the commentators involved. Ooh, side note, baby, Corey Graves. Woo, Corey. I don't even like really look at white boys like that. Corey Graves is a fine. Ooh, you know who else is fine too that I just learned about because he here and I didn't know about him before? Bitch, Corey Graves and Austin Theory, fine ass white boys. My God, today. Corey Graves could just not move. He could just sit there. That man's so fine. I don't even know where that came from. That just hit me out of nowhere. But anyway, I was talking about the commentators. So I like when they get like the commentators involved, and I like the storyline right now where like Pierce is kind of involved with like the Vision and not getting along with them. I like that. It makes it feel a little bit, like more grounded, a little bit more real. So they did that match. Like I said, I thought it was okay. It was kind of really like a throwaway match. I believe it was Saturday Saturday night's main event, but I cannot remember. Regardless, it was a throwaway match, but it was cool. Shout out to Pat McAfee for, like, you know, taking the bombs, doing what he had to do. He built an entire, like, ring, you know, like, where he lived and trained. So, appreciated that. So, that was cool. It is what it is. Then you had Lyra versus Becky or whatever, and pretty much, I mean, that I remember that match. It was okay. I like their match at Evolution a whole lot better, which we'll talk about Evolution in a little bit. But this is when, you know, they turned Becky, you know, into a heel or whatever. I love Becky as a heel. Becky does it's like Becky Trump pretty much, and I love it. 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 I think it's great. And yeah. Really, episode 1, well, a lot of this season really was them trying to get Lyra over. For me, they did it. Like, with this show, I feel like they got Lyra over for me. But again, it needs to translate correctly into the show. That's what y'all need to work on. Make sure it comes over in the show. So that pretty much was like episode 1. Episode 1 wasn't too much. Let's get to the shits that everybody want to talk about, baby. Because I think I got the most notes on episode 2. Yeah, my notes is pretty intense here for 2, but we're going to try to keep it cute. So, episode 2 is called The Truth. So, obviously, we know this is going to be around Ron Truth. Or, that's a Ron Truth. Ron Killings, R-Truth, okay? So, we start off, we start off with, you know, R-Truth. You know, he tells us all his names, Ron Killings, this person, blah, 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 R-Truth, long story. Long story short, you know, they give the overall, you know, of his character, which is really just like a funny character. I'm going to get into my feelings about how they even treat R-Truth. We'll get into that later. But he's supposed to be a funny character. He's supposed to be, you know, a moment of levity and you know, trying to take away the tension. And, you know, they show a lot of little stuff of that. So, R-Truth talks about how, you know, okay, this is the crazy part, right? John Cena's retirement, because we're still in last year. And one of the ideas that was came up with from the writers' room is, hey, we got to make sure that we get R-Truth in here, because R-Truth, one of his gimmicks is that he's John Cena's biggest fan. He always says, oh, I grew up watching John Cena, and it's like how when you're 5 years older than John Cena. So it's just funny, right? So I want to say what I did like about the R-Truth and John Cena thing is I love the way they handled the press conference, because I remember when that happened. I think the purpose of the press conferences with WWE is stupid overall, but I think if they're gonna use press conferences like they did with that situation, I think it works. So went to the press conference after John had won or whatever. R-Truth comes up to him, he tells him to get out his face. John Cena puts him through the table. Cool. That sets up the match for Saturday night's main event, right? Cool. So they do everything, right? Everything is cool. They do the match. The match is over. Everybody's, oh my gosh, Ron, you did so good. Oh my gosh, John's like, oh my gosh, you did amazing. Literally less than like a week later, he gets a phone. Now, according to Ron, he says he got a phone call pretty much saying like that he wasn't going to be coming back, that they was going to release him. He gets on Twitter. He says that, and then we know, well, this is one of the few storylines like behind the WWE that I actually know what happened, because it was a very big deal when he got let go. That shit was all up and down the timeline. Even if you didn't watch wrestling, it was all up and down the timeline. Every single person that talked about wrestling online, Twitter, YouTube, was talking about like, y'all really tried that with not bringing Ron back. And I love, what did Cody say later? Cody was like, there's certain things in wrestling or WWE that's just like a no. R-Truth is one of them no's. And he caught himself because he was like, I don't care how much we got to pay. Keep them. Point of the matter is what he was saying is, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Y'all didn't want to pay him. Pay him whatever it is that he needs, because he's needed in the locker room. And I heard a lot of people that review the WWE say that, why didn't they give him, I guess, like a legacy contract where he can kind of like, not necessarily be there every week, but he's still around the building. He still participate. And like, no shade. If William Regal could still be there, why the fuck can't R-Truth be there? Like, there's so many people from the past that's still working there. I don't know if that's a Vince thing though, but he should have been able to stay. So they talk about that. Then we get into Brian Gerard James. And I'm looking at him like, you look so familiar. And then he says, they know me as Road Dogg. I said, come on, Road Dogg, baby. I am a 90s baby, okay? Meaning I'm like a late 90s kid, early 2000 kid. So, bitch, DX, DX getting in trouble at school for the you can't tell me nothing. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I was so excited to see him. But yeah, he is now the VP of Live Events and Creative, and he's also the co-leader writer of SmackDown. I said, ooh, SmackDown is trash. Well, the last year it's been trash. It's actually been better than Raw since the start of this year. So like, to you, but like last year, ooh, it was real bad. But again, yeah, DX so iconic, and so is he. So he gets a little emotional because he's talking about Ron, and he was like, the reason why pretty much nobody could tell me. Well, let me stop for a second. He said, when it comes to in-ring action, he said, I can't really be proud about a lot of that because I was like really like on a lot of drugs at that time. Like, I'm sober and I'm clean now. And he was like, one of the people that like was my friend throughout that entire thing was R-Truth. I had no idea that R-Truth and Road Dogg, well, I didn't know much about R-Truth, I think, when I was younger, but I didn't know that R-Truth and Road Dogg were like this. So to be quite honest, their friendship, this whole episode just made me cry. By the end of the episode, when Truth came back and they hugged and then Truth was talking about Road Dogg, I was in here in pure tears. Pure tears. Their friendship is just, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. So we go back into, how Ron got to where he is now. He used to want to be a rapper. They show pictures of him with Tupac, with Eazy-E, like he was serious about this, but he wasn't really making no motion. So then somebody had introduced him to wrestling and he was like, okay. And it was like, look, if you do this, we're going to have you on TV within 6 months. He said he did the wrestling thing. He would rap and wrestle kind of like he does now, but he wasn't going anywhere. So then Road Dogg had saw him I think performed, one time, and he was like, who the hell is this guy that's coming up here and rapping and wrestling? And he came up to R-Truth and was like, bro, look, I like you a lot. I want you to be my partner. Give me 2 months, you're going to be in WWE. And he didn't lie. In 2 months, he was in the WWE. I said, come on. So R-Truth was like, pretty much like that Road Dogg, and R-Truth was like, that's my best friend. Like, that is my BFF. So then they show, that R-Truth had his album release party, how Road Dogg came to that, how John Cena Sr., meaning John Cena's daddy, had came or whatever too to come and see Ron. Carmelo Hayes so damn fine too. Carmelo Hayes had came or whatever. I'm just like, it just seems like he really is such a light, like a bright light. Rhea said that, when everybody found out that he was released, they thought it was a joke. And once they found out that it was real, everybody just felt sad. And one thing I heard a lot of people say is like, it also made people feel like being loyal to the WWE means absolutely nothing. Like, the fact that he's been there as long as he's had, I think Triple H was like, Ron has been here so long. I don't know. I heard he wrestled Abe Lincoln one time. Yeah, like, that doesn't mean anything to y'all. Like, loyalty and tenure, like, none of that means nothing. It just means nothing to y'all. Bullshit. So people was pissed about that. So, like I said, they set everything up or whatever. I want to say this, right? Going into the John Cena and R-Truth situation, right? So, it was a backlash. That's what it was. It was that backlash that had happened. Brian said the realest shit. Shout out to Road Dogg. He said the realest shit during this meeting. They were having a meeting about, John and Road Dogg on what they should do, right? And Road Dogg had said, like, Truth wants to cut his dreads. And Triple H was like, what? He just seemed so disgusted. He was like, excuse me? He wants to cut, for what? For what? Like, what is the purpose? To be fair, I do think that Triple H does a good job of, like, kind of, I wish it don't come off like this on TV, to be fair. But in the meetings, it does seem like Triple H does a good job of like, okay, wait, do this, then what? Then what? Then what? Then what? What does that mean? How does that move the story along? And so Road Dogg was like, he didn't actually like defend him pretty well and give like a good explanation as to why he should cut his hair. But what he did say was some real shit. He was like, look, This is my whole thing. He was like, this whole thing with John has been shit. It's been fucking terrible. And it's so bad. That's why I don't even want to bring up any ideas, because this whole thing has been shit. And I'm like, okay, so at least y'all, so it's clear to me that people in the writing room knew that what the fuck was going on with John's last year was a bunch of bullshit. And we're gonna get into the WrestleMania-ness of it all and how they really tried to play. Like, I get y'all trying to protect The Rock or whatever, but no, bullshit, BS. I call BS, okay? And I was like, thank you, Brian, for doing that or whatever. And so Brian gets upset, or Road Dogg, he gets upset because, you know, nobody really wants to hear his idea about, you know, Truth cutting his hair. To be fair, Road Dogg didn't really give like any reasons. I think he was a little bit emotional about it, and Triple H was like, I mean, Road Dogg is good, but, you know, he does take things a little bit too personal at times or whatever. But again, they do the match. Everything is cool. All this ass kissing that people is doing to R-Truth when he's in the bag, knowing damn well that y'all about to let him go. So then he was released. Like I said, he called Road Dogg right after it happened. Road Dogg was like, I had to pull over to the side, because Road Dogg said he had no idea. Nobody told him nothing about them getting rid of R-Truth. And he was upset, so he also tweeted as well. Like I said, all of these tweets come out. Like I said, that's when Cody was like, you don't touch him at all. Let's get into the BS of Triple H. So a couple things. Let me say something. Paul Hunter Levesque, that's a petty ass nigga. That is a petty ass white man. He is so petty, and he lacks accountability. He's petty, he lacks accountability, he's vindictive, he's a corporate man. All of that to me was also shown on this season in a way it wasn't last season, because he ain't take responsibility for nothing. So Triple H was like, well, my thing about it is like, we did not fire him. What happened was that his contract was coming up, whatever, and we were just completely far apart on the numbers. So our whole thing was like, okay, well, we just not going, you know, like renew right now, and hopefully, you know, business, like it was a tactic, a business tactic, like we're just gonna not do anything right now, and hopefully, you know, he'll think about it and come back and pretty much try to be closer to their number, which is going to be on the lower side. And he said, but we didn't, he said, but we never fired him. So that he went online or whatever, and that's when he tweeted whatever it is that that he tweeted about him being released or whatever, and that's not what happened. You could tell that Triple H was pissed. When he's talking about this, you could tell he was so mad. And my response to that is, oh, well, you didn't fire him. Okay, fine. The point of the matter, though, is that y'all was willing to let this man think that he did not have that he wasn't going to have a job, just so that he could come back to y'all and be like, you know what, I'll just take the pennies on the dollars. No, I get business tricks and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you're mad. What Triple H is mad. He's pissed, because he pretty much had to walk back all of that shit, and it made him and TKO look fucking stupid. Y'all tried to pull the okie doke, and when R-Truth said, no, I'm just gonna bet on myself and fuck it, I'm just not gonna come back around. Now y'all want to pull up, oh, he was never fired. Oh, he was never fired. Oh, it was just a tactic. Okay, well, tactic about ass. He out-tacticked y'all. How about that? He out-tacticked y'all. And I think it's trifling. I know that it's business stuff, but I also think it's trifling to sit on this screen and tell us that you purposefully was waiting for this man to come back and holding out on him. Somebody that's been here, like you said out of your mouth, since Abe fucking Lincoln, and now y'all will play that game so much to make it so that when he comes back, y'all can give him what y'all want, which is penny on the dollars? Absolutely not. Now, Road Dogg said he understood from a business standpoint. The point of the matter is that R-Truth is a older, you know, he's an older man. He's not on TV as much. So it's like, I get all that. But at the end of the day, as Cody said, some things, it just is what it is. You pay some people just because they're needed in a building. Some people, you pay them, it's more than like what they're actually like able to, you know, put in the ring. Some people mean more than that. And he was one of those people. And y'all did not foresee what happened. Y'all are, Triple H is so mad. You could tell he is so mad. Oh well, y'all little tricks backfired. It smacks you in your face. Love that. And I also want to say that I think it's a bunch of bullshit about, oh, we didn't fire him. Because my thing is, when R-Truth confirmed that Nick Khan, which is the president or whoever the hell he is at WWE, came to see him and to talk to him. Now that was a rumor. It was a rumor around whatever day that he came back, that Nick Khan had to fly out to R-Truth to sit down with him and convince him to come back. That means that rumor is true. So Triple H, you're full of shit. Because my thing is, if it was just simply about the numbers of it all, then why couldn't you get it done? Your boss. Be clear about this. Your boss had to take his ass from wherever he was to go to R-Truth to get him back. Meaning y'all was the one who fucked up. Not him, like the way you're trying to paint it. Like, oh, he jumped the gun. I didn't like that. Oh, well. Your boss had to hop on the plane to go directly to that man to get him back. So to me, what that says is that y'all were clearly in the wrong. I mean, outside of what I know, it's clear that y'all was in the wrong. Because why wouldn't Nick Khan feel the need to do that if R-Truth wasn't that big of a deal? Or if y'all the ones that wasn't in the wrong? Fuck out of here. Fuck out my face. Fuck out my face. Okay? So then we have Naomi and Jimmy. I know that they used to be on what the heck is the name of that show? WWE Divas, I think that's what it was, on E! I need the WWE to give Naomi and Jimmy a show. They are like Naomi, Jimmy, and Chelsea Green, the three people that I know, like, that's on this show, whatever. Those are people that need to be, like, on reality TV. Like, WWE needs to do a reality TV spinoff. These people are great. Like, I could watch Naomi and Jimmy all day. Like, give them a show with, like, maybe Becky and Seth, Chelsea, and somebody else, like, just its own reality show, and I will watch it. They're so cute. Love them. I'm so sorry, Naomi, but Jimmy is so damn fine. I'm done calling everybody's husband's fine. But anyway, so she talks about, you know, her time there. And again, because I'm new, I didn't know all of this. So, and she was in a tag team with a woman named Sasha Banks. I did not know that Sasha Banks is Mercedes Moné. And I don't even watch AEW, but I'm very aware of, like, who she is and her name and all the belts that she got, just because, you know, in passing of listening to wrestling stuff. But I did not know that Mercedes Moné is Sasha Banks. That's interesting to me. Okay, so she said that there was this big incident that happened in 2022. They were tag team partners, and I think it was supposed to be like a 6-way match, whatever. And her and Sasha decided to walk out. Now, they did not give any details in this show about why, because Naomi said she didn't want to talk about it. One of the other people, like I said, oh, they didn't want to be pitted against each other in a 6-way. But I did my own research because I said, y'all not telling me the whole story. So I went and I looked online. From my understanding, get in the comments, tell me if I'm wrong. It was a combination of things. It was obviously, yes, the whole 6-way thing, but it was an overall thing of both of them did not like the direction of the women's division or the women's tag team division. They felt like the way that the storylines or that they were being presented was not right, and that they had conversations, you know what, like creative, which wasn't Triple H and them, it was Vince and them at the time. And they felt like they weren't taken seriously, so they walked out. And I'm not mad at it. You know what? Bet on yourself. Like, please, bet on yourself, because who got time to be being played with? And as the black girls on the show, I know y'all was playing in their faces. Like, outside of, like, it just being women, because we know how y'all treat women in WWE all the way up until recently, as far as how y'all displayed them. And even Naomi said, when I first got here, it's not like how it was now. The girls or women was just, like, sideshow attractions, right? So I'm pretty sure they're one of the people that fought to, like, get the women, like, taken more seriously, have the storylines be more impactful. And pretty much people told them to kiss their ass, so they left. I said, I know that's right. So apparently, Sasha Banks went to AEW and she's still there. And then Naomi ended up coming back. Naomi said she came back because, you know, it's a family thing. You know, she's married to Jimmy and the whole Samoan family and all that other shit. So, talked about that. She talked about how when she wasn't there, it really put a strain on their marriage because they're used to being with each other 24/7. She came back. She did her heel turn, which I did see. It was really, really great. And then we see the writer's room where they're talking about Naomi. And throughout the show, there is this one black man that I keep seeing. He's bald head or whatever. And again, it just kind of gives me, like, what I was saying last season. There is no doubt. The reason why the women come off the way they do, the reason why black people come off the way that they do in this show, the reason why fucking Asian people come, everybody that's not white, it's because there's no diversity in that damn writer's room. I saw maybe a total of 2 black people in total, which were men. 2 black men that I saw writers-wise on that show. And then I saw maybe like 1 or 2 white women. The diversity of that freaking writer's room is probably why like y'all like Trump so much, because it's very much so like his cabinet. Y'all ain't got no type of diversity in there, which is why y'all storylines for these people suck. They suck. I want to be very clear. The women's division, for the most part, the storylines that y'all are telling, they fucking suck because y'all don't have any women that's in there to really be able to tell y'all this is what's going to capture women's attention or what's going to be good for the women's division. Y'all literally treat every fucking black person that's on this show, for the most part, like a damn character. That's what I wanted to say about R-Truth. R-Truth really is just a character. That's all he is. He is a character. That's it. Same thing with New Day. New Day, they act like freaking... Ooh, I don't want to be offensive with my, But the point of the matter is that even with Io Sky, the way that they treat her character, very stereotypical. Same thing they do with the Kabuki Warriors, very stereotypical. There's nobody, to me, it's very clear that it's obvious that the people that are writing these characters are people, this is how they interpret how other races act, how other races behave. They're not actually like, there's no real lived experience you could tell through these characters and through the writing. What the fuck y'all got going on over there? Get more women in the damn writer's room. Get more people of color. Get more minorities in the daggone room. I'm tired of sitting here and not just watching Unreal, but then having to see the daggone results of nothing but white, straight men in a damn boardroom writing for a diverse group of people. Y'all can't speak to Naomi's fucking experience. You can't speak to Jay's. You can't speak to hell, even, what's her name? Sasha Banks. Y'all couldn't do that, which is probably why they left. Same reason why y'all make Io look ridiculous. Io is amazing. I'm going to get to her, but she's an amazing talent. But the way that y'all write her character, she is not an anime fucking character. She's not a damn anime character, or she's not a damn fucking school anime girl. Like, why do y'all write her like that? Why do y'all do that? Why? Because there's no diversity in the damn writing room. And this is why it should be. Because it's very clear that y'all are writing from a perspective that y'all don't fucking understand. Done with my fucking rant about that. The writer's room really pissed me off last season and this season. And that's exactly why y'all are where the fuck y'all are. Done with my fucking rant. Moving the hell on, okay? So... like I said, we do the whole Naomi thing. Loved her heel turn. It was great. Like I said, after that, we talk, we see R-Truth, so that Nick Khan came to see him, and how his feelings was like really hurt, but they, made it better. What else do we got here? So they talk about how it was going to bring R-Truth back, and maybe like only 4 to 5 people was going to know. Not even Michael Cole was going to know. So they show when Naomi won Money in the Bank. I cried. I ain't gonna hold you. When she won Money in the Bank, I almost flipped my damn TV over. I was so damn excited. So happy for her. And then when it's so funny, Brian cried, whenever R-Truth came back, and they saw each other, like right after, and they just hugged each other and cried. I cried like a baby. The point of the matter is that I cried like a baby because R-Truth and Road Dogg's friendship is like, and at the very end, like R-Truth was just like sitting there crying, and he was like, I know Road Dogg be like, oh, like that's my homie and that's my best friend. He said, but no, he do not get it. Like, he don't know how much I really love this man. Like, he dead ass saved my life. He did not have to bring me up here to WWE. And ever since then, he's been like a consistent friend. Oh, their friendship made my heart go pitter, 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 pitter. So that was episode 2. Should I stop y'all and then do episode 3, 4, and 5 separately? Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna do episodes 3, 4, and 5 separately, together separately. But yeah, I thought episode 1 and 2 was okay. 1 was a little boring. 2 to me was a little bit better. I love the fact that they went behind the scenes, of the whole R-Truth situation. And the point of the matter is that Hunter, Triple H, you're full of shit. He tried to really make it like it was R-Truth's fault. Like, oh, you should have never said nothing. No, you're mad because of what? Because what y'all tried to do, the tactic y'all tried to use, didn't work against my nigga. Love that for y'all. Y'all lame. I'll be back for episode 3, 4, 5. Bye.